Welcome back to the halftime show. Oh, well, I guess it's all me, but that's okay. I don't need those guys anyway. I feel like they were always holding me down. We are going to be doing something a little bit different where we let these guys have a little bit of a break. And if you've been following me on Twitter, if you've been interested at all, we're going to be going into a segment that I like to call Choke Points, which is basically just me talking about how to play fight geography and why Wildcard recently have been looking so darn good. And so with that, we're going to take a couple of looks at some clips from today and from some of their games previously throughout the league to kind of highlight what it is that Wildcard and Moosehater in particular has been really taking off with and showcasing why he has been so good. So with that, we're actually going to take our very first clip. It comes in earlier in this game, right? And this is one of the spots where Wildcard have already kind of set up in a situation where they're trying to get in very different positions. As we look over here, we're able to see that Philip is creating some space over here, but at the same time, as you can kind of see through the Windows Media Player, Moosehater is... Sorry about that. Moosehater is all the way down on the other side, down the river, whereas from here, the important thing to note, Soligo is already marking Philip. He's preventing Philip from having the same kind of level of control of the map, whereas over here, you can see both UG and Spyrax, they're way more focused on the primary fight. And as we start playing the clip a little bit, we'll have an opportunity to see exactly how all of this plays out, because Moosehater, as he comes in over the wall, and as we take another snapshot, we can already see over here, Philip is locked out. He can't really participate in this fight, but Moosehater is going to have complete free access. And this has been something that has been very typical of the way that we have been seeing Wildcard win a lot of fights. And as we actually play it out, as Beatdown and Mazel were already talking about, Masu is already blown up here. And you can see that we have this new line of scrimmage created over here, whereas Moosehater is uninhibited. And as we actually take a look at what happens, it doesn't even matter the fact that Masu doesn't die here. As Beatdown pointed out, Masu is just forced to leave the fight, and now Moosehater is right on in on the rest of the team. And as so many of you in Twitch chat were so eager to point out, we also have to know at this point, Duo King has already picked up the Shirelles, and even though this part of the fight is far, it's going to zoom really quickly in order to catch up with everybody else. And as we play out the rest of the fight, the fact that both Masu and Spyrax have been out of this fight for so long make this a very easy, effective 5v3. And even though Moosehater does go down towards the end, it's still a dominating fight coming out from Wildcard. We'll have another opportunity to kind of take a look at something very similar, except it's from the other angle. This is after FlyQuest have already given up 3 straight dragons despite having a gold lead this entire time. And there are 2 things to look out for here. Firstly, as you can kind of see on your mini-map, over here, we see the teleport coming in from Spyrax, but notice what Philip is doing at the same time. He's still completing a back, and these teleports are going to be happening at different times. And as we play forward the fight, you see that while Spyrax has already arrived and Philip has gone back to base, the fight has already started, right? FlyQuest this isn't a problem for either Philip or Spyrax in particular, but it's very clearly showing one of the problems that this team has had throughout the course of the season thus far. They aren't always on the same page. They're just a couple of seconds off, whereas Moosehater is already showing up. He can participate in this fight, and as we roll it again for a little bit, I want to show what exactly has happened to Philip. Right? As Spyrax goes for this play, Philip is still over here. He has just now arrived, and look at what Yuji's health bar is. He's basically already dead. FlyQuest have already opted into a situation that is basically a 4v5, and as we roll it even further, Philip's going to end up getting caught by the ultimate from Keel. And so, this is just yet another situation where despite Spyrax's big play where he's able to knock multiple people back, where he knocks back Soligo and keeps Duo King right in the middle of the fight, exactly where Sona doesn't want to be, it doesn't matter, because FlyQuest have not been able to create a situation where they need their players to be marked. They're not playing all at the same time. And we can also see, right, what happens in other games. We're going to take a bit of a peek back at what we've seen in previous segments where Moosehater does the exact same thing. This is their game going up against CLG Faith, where the game hasn't yet been decided despite the fact that Wildcard are up a little bit. We're fighting for another dragon, and the player I want you to actually focus on during this fight is Serenok and what he allows Moosehater to do. because Wildcard are so decisive in a lot of their plays, as we see CLG Faith come through, this is actually a perfect situation for them, right? You have Serenok, and he is marking Moose Hater over here. Moose Hater should not be able to get in because you have this linebacker creating space. At the same time, everybody here, you have this 3-on-3, and even though Wildcard have typically shown themselves to be slightly better team fighters, you can kind of expect this to be a little bit of a wash as long as Moose Hater doesn't manage to find his way in. And as we play the clip forward a little bit yet again, you'll notice, watch what happens. Serenok was here. His entire job needs to be to screen out Moose Hater, right? He needs to make sure this Garen does not get in because he will not be able to affect the rest of the fight by the time it's actually decided. And as we once again go forward, Serenok chooses the wrong targets, goes over here, and as we've so classically seen, Moose Hater gets to spin to win and absolutely dominate yet another fight. And it feels as though this control over so many of these games where they are just so much better at creating situations where they create flankers that need to be marked and are not being marked, and at the same time, Soligo in particular has been so good at preventing other players, other flankers from coming into their own backline. It's just been win after win after win coming out for Wildcard Gaming. They are understanding this identity better. They've been so good at creating situations where they're coming at multiple angles, and it's something that a lot of our Challengers teams have not yet been able to figure out. However, this is one of the things that we were very used to in spring. It wasn't something where a lot of our academy teams last year were nearly as prepared to deal with, but by summer, a lot of them had kind of figured it out. And now, as we start to get ready to bring our casters back, now that you have a little bit of a better idea of how Wildcard Gaming has actually been able to find so many of their wins, let's bring back Mazel and Beatdown to kind of go over what you guys felt about that last game. I know you guys had a lot of thoughts, but you got to see exactly some of the differences that Wildcard and FlyQuest have had when they actually set up for some of these fights. And Beatdown, it's been absolutely ridiculous how well Wildcard have done this.
And this is what they've been doing from the start. I think I want to specifically call back to the one clip where Spyrex had stolen Soligo's ultimate with the Azir ultimate. He tries to go in, but the fight is very disjointed, and it's quite the opposite of what Wildcard are being able to do. And FlyQuest are the only team who does this. There are teams who aren't as cohesive, don't have as much of that solidified identity where they're mistimed in a lot of their team fights, and you almost never see that happen for Wildcard. That practice, that precision is something to be envied for other teams in the league.
And Lennon, I mean, we've seen this over and over again, right? It was a major way where Wildcard was actually able to take down Dignitas in Game 2 yesterday, where they were just better at creating situations. And I want to give special praise to Soligo because it's a quiet part of the game. The flanker is always very exciting when they can get in, but it's up to the person who's marking them, in this case usually Soligo, to prevent them from actually having these big shining moments.
I think we saw a lot of that picking apart, and especially again that I call back to that kind of like last team fight where it just felt like as soon as one thing went wrong for FlyQuest, they scattered the wind and tried to find everything they could to find an escape. But that also shows the prowess of Wildcard knew exactly where to attack. They did so exactly how they needed to, and it was about those separations in fight that we saw so many times. And again, like you had highlighted so well, like those angles from Wildcard that they just know how to slink in.
Yeah, we'll see a little bit more of that, right? This has kind of been the story of FlyQuest Challengers versus Wildcard Gaming, is it feels as though Wildcard have such a strong identity. You guys were talking about how well they scale, Lennon, whereas with FlyQuest, I know we really pumped up Spyrex a lot, but one of the players that I'm kind of curious what your take is on is how well Yuji has grown into a bit more of a shot caller, especially early in the game.
I think we saw a little bit of that. I would have liked to see a little bit more proactivity, especially towards this, like the little plays, the hesitancies that we saw on bottom side a little bit once Keel had taken that little aggressive path early on. But I think you start to see that over the past weeks, right? Like Yuji does have strong plans in the early parts of the game. He has great pathing. He has great heads up killer instincts as well on a lot of the like kind of move forward junglers. But again, it comes to, can he cohese that into a team call around everyone? And is everyone listening? Is everyone on the same page? And when you talk to them, you hear that usually they are, but we haven't seen that necessarily executed on.
We'll see how well they can actually execute on it because we are ready for Game 2 of Wildcard versus FlyQuest Challengers. We're going to go ahead and Lennon, Beatdown, take it away.
I got it! I got it!
Nice catch, Lennon. Good stuff.
Thanks. He said it. He finally said the words. He finally said, I know Joshi loves that, so
True.
We're getting into it now, though. Wild card there on the blue side, FlyQuest on the red side. No changes in that aspect, though. I would expect no changes in the bans either from FlyQuest side. We do get that Kassadin ban and the Lucian ban from Wildcard, though.
Right, a lot of the same
Maokai.
stuff for the most part. This time the Maokai is going to be taken out of the picture, which I mean, fair enough. Great pick, and Keel was able to do so much.
You don't say
with it.
beatdown.
I
Great
know,
pick,
it's
huh?
just, you know me, man. They call me hot take beatdown. I say things that the community is too afraid to admit.
Hot
you know,
take beatdown.
Maokai is broken.
Legendary
Zeri
known.
Lulu is good. What else do we got in the tank here?
Wait.
Akali good champ,
That's bias. All right, that's bias.
but it's true.
We get the last ban here in the first phase for Wildcard. It is the Jace. So a little bit of flexibility potential for Spyrax Philip, but I would like to see what FlyQuest 2 want to ban here. As we saw, the big bans last time around were the Garen, the Zac, and the Kalista. We'll see if that Garen makes its way into the ban table. If they just feel like the Kalista as well is just needing to take priority off the board.
I'm very curious what that last ban is also going to be.
It's the
It is
Kalista.
We've seen Wildcard very happily just early picking the Garen, so that is bold. But what I don't really like is when teams just, blind ban things like Blitzcrank, Zac, and just kind of take away the strong picks that we've seen them pop off on a lot, but not really worry about the identity you're trying to form for your team and getting rid of things that go against it. So this is clearly that kind of look for FlyQuest, where they just don't want that Kalista through. Lens is one of the few players in this league who just don't give him Kalista. Of course, the other being
Don't give it to him.
you just don't give it to him. There are one other bot lane you can't do it to on AoE side and links to Skytech, but point is, it's not going to make it through. So far, nothing really too exciting in the pick and ban phase. The question for me is, do we see that first rotation Garen come through or Wildcard?
Well, you leave it open. It's always a possibility. The Zac isn't there, but that Garen sure is. And I do like to see the Sejuani for UG. Obviously, strength there and sign of that decision making that we were talking about. But still, that execution question, obviously. It is the Jinx, though, locked in. So priority on their carries here for Wildcard.
Oh, yes! Yes! I was thinking about it. They brought it out in game 2 yesterday against Dignitas. They're bringing it out again. I love this pick. It's so good, and no one but Keel can see the truth. I love it. I love him for it.
This will be the third time he picks this one up as well. And it's
I know, it's
always
so good.
Wildcard that makes you think in draft, what can you do to approach this? And they knew the matchup was coming. They had the Sejuani already locked in there for UG. So really good stuff and heads up stuff from Wildcard in this draft number 2. We're in the phase second of picks and bans. There's
There
the
it
Garen
is.
ban has to be there. Didn't make it into the picks for first phase, at least for Wildcard. But now I'm looking at the solo lane bans for Wildcard.
Right, Spyrax hasn't picked yet, so maybe you see the Silas taken out of the picture. Maybe you see another. There's a couple of different options here. Of course, you can ban out Philip as well if you want to. I'm curious on how FlyQuest round out this draft, because realistically, their draft last game was good, right?
Yeah.
The problem was just simply how they ended up executing mid to late game. Because early on, they had leads. They weren't able to stack dragons, but they had leads, and they were in control. Masu was fed and ahead, but it didn't pan out for them. And Josh honestly broke it down really well in this halftime segment. So that's the change I really want to see from FlyQuest going into game 2.
See if they can adapt to the situation at hand. It is that Jax ban, the Sona ban, the respect out of Duo
True.
King as well. So a little bit of respect from game number 1 as well given over. And that respect is important, as we said in draft number 1 and now draft number 2. It is the Renekton, though, ban against Philip here in the second phase.
Interesting. Well, I'm wondering if Moose Hater just goes for some kind of full tank option and you're removing some of those lane bully champions, but you're probably not going to like that option as much because Philip will be locking in that Fiora, and it's Spyrax who gets that last pick again.
All right. Well, I'm interested in Fiora. A little bit of that confidence pick here from Philip. The side lane pressure as well in the later parts of the game. We saw them try to answer here maybe by Wildcard with a little bit of side lane pressure of their own. And that could just be, bounds for a little bit of fighting fisticuffs that we wanted to see in the side lane here, as the Camille is locked in for Wildcard.
That's an interesting. Oh, is it the Senna?
This was banned away in the second phase last time
That's
around.
right.
So Sona makes the ban list this time. Senna makes it through.
Right, and this is Wildcard rounding out the draft. Again, they don't really draft for the lane matchups necessarily. It's how their teammates will interact with them in team fights. And if we look at them with that regard,
Spyrax whipping out the Yone.
I like it. Good matchup. Overall, it does offer you more of that all-in. You jump in with Sejuani, you have that Fate sealed as well to keep the CC coming. But overall, you look at Wildcard side, again, it is about team fighting for them. Keel on this Nunu is the biggest thing for me because, one, you gank Perma with the Snowball, which is, really great if Nunu's on your team. And
True.
Nunu, the thing that is so broken about this champion in competitive play, you can't 50-50 objectives. It is literally impossible. If their keyboard is plugged in, their monitors are on, and they are in the objective pit, whatever objective it is,
Any
it is
objective,
impossible.
whatever pit, as long as
It is
they're in a pit.
impossible. Literally, you just can't do it. So there's so much more pressure offered to FlyQuest around these objectives, which they already struggle to acquire.
Yeah.
I really credit this pick to be a big reason why Wildcard were able to pull it out against Dignitas in Game 2 yesterday. Because they were behind for most of that game, Lennon, but it was Keel able to consistently stack that objectives. And every time Wildcard walked into a pit, Dignitas didn't even bother because they know when it's Nunu time, you can't steal from him.
Well, we're hitting the rift now for Nunu time as Wildcard versus FlyQuest Challengers. Game number 2 kicks off. Got a lot of FlyQuest fans in the chat here, but make sure you're spamming in FlyC or Wildcard or WC. And we'll see how this Nunu pick does work out because it does play to the advantage that Keel found last time around, and he was playing aggressive on the Maokai itself, and on the Nunu, it's going to be even more oppressive against Yuji, who was able to defend against it to some extent, but we did see some of that pressure kind of give way.
Keel, actually, this comp overall for Wildcard is that you don't have a lot of CC necessarily, but for this team where they play together so well, this comp suits them because you have the all-in, of course, from Keel with that biggest snowball ever, and it's Moose Hater who I'm also keeping an eye on because, of course, you can side lane even into the likes of Fiora with that Ignite that Moose Hater is taking in place of Flash, and also you're able to cheat terrain a little bit with that hook shot and get on top of someone like Masu, who took Ghost and is supposed to be fast and mobile, but if you're in that Hextech ultimatum, you can't really go that far.
A little bit of vision game put down by Spyrax. See if he can spot Keel's pathing early on here with the game responded to on the other side of the map as well. Actually looks like an early path from Yuji up to this top side, level 2. Could it actually happen? Duo King in a little bit of trouble here. Masu, they're flashing for it. Duo King goes down. Top side.
Oh my God.
Response. And FlyQuest were angry from game number 1.
God damn. They took that personally. And now you have the level 2, the famous Nunu gank coming through. Will it find anything? No summoner spells, remember.
This should be purchased here.
What?
They find it on Amasu. He's getting low though. Keel's down. It's traded though. Lens. He's about to clean house here, and 2 kills to a Jinx is exactly what you want for Wildcard.
5 kills in 2 minutes, Lennon. That's what I'm talking about here. This is League of Legends. And the best part about this is you go 2 kills apiece. As the bot lane, Lens has that added advantage of being able to push out another wave, get that slightly bigger buy coming through here. And
UG is still level 2. There have been some missing pings in the topside jungle from Wildcard, and Soligo pulls the trigger on those shifting sands.
This is what we wanted to see. This is what we were highlighting a little bit in that early game. But the bot lane, the new hotness, Masu, Kitong, they know you're very vulnerable. Senna early on, very squishy. So as soon as they saw the angle, they knew they committed everything.
Not even
they
level
had.
2 yet.
No, but they knew. They saw the angle. And even with Keel, I want to look at this snowball. I'm going to be real with you. I love this champ. Used to play it all the time. I don't know if that snowball hit. Let's look real close. Okay, you know what? Yeah, that hit. I take it back.
That's the biggest snowball ever beat down.
You're right. Yeah, how could I say that? But the big thing there is, of course, Jinx gets excited, and there's no way you're able to run away from that as Kitong. So 2 apiece for the 80 carries, but you can see that slightly bigger buy come through for Lens.
How beautiful is it, though, that we get 2 kills apiece for Masu and Lens, 2 standout ADCs of their own right here.
Yes.
And especially with the 2 stories they have coming into this one, and in dueling ways, right, where Masu has a little bit of a backstory to his Lens as well. But it's really cool to see some resources delved down there bot lane.
Speaking of resources, Keel's coming by mid. Oh my
we're
god!
getting double ganks. It's chaos early still. That chain CC though might be able to connect here. FlyQuest, they're chasing down Moose Hater. He's gotten all the oppression, and FlyQuest will find another kill for Philip at the top side. The gank in mid got the flash from Spyrax, but still survives.
Oh my god, we're doing it again. I love this game, Lennon.
Going.
You can't be slowed. Don't you know, Keetong?
Keetong, you can't escape the inevitable. Lens is on a killing spree.
Nobody told Keetong you can't be slowed while Nunu is channeling the snowball. And oh, he's doing it again.
Keeps on going, man. He just doesn't stop. He's looking for Spyrax now, who has no flash. He does have that soul unbound. Able to make it out of that one. Nice little move.
Imagine he does it again. I'm watching. Okay,
Oh, he's just gotta go back by. It's literally, I say ping pong with junglers all the time between bot and mid, but now with Nunu and Willip, it literally is ping pong because he just has the big ball that walks back and forth.
Hey, think giant ping pong ball, very small paddle. It's very fun. And so far, we're at 7 kills now. A 5-minute mark, and this has just been incredible from both sides. And we're going to see a lot more of this action. I like it from FlyQuest because last game, Keel had Yuji's number. Was able to limit what he was able to do, and the laners of Wildcard were able to absorb some of that pressure as well. But now, Philip, 2-0 top side in particular is a big deal. FlyQuest mid to late game, they play that 4-1. They have Philip playing isolation on the side lane, and
here they come again! Jumping over the Monsoon, nice little move, but he still gets CC down.
Yep.
And Duo King's chasing him here. Yuji is right around the corner. They're putting some decent damage into Duo King. Duo King needs to be careful here. But those Flame Chompers able to separate a lot of the fight here. And FlyQuest and Wildcard, they just don't stop going to blows.
Yeah, this is great. The scraps keep on coming. Oh, look at that. Keel's running it back.
Yeah, see if he can go to that dragon now.
Yeah, I mean, Yuji, you posture, but it's actually not legal. Oh, wait, what? Oh, maybe because he thought he was going to do it solo, and his bot lane wants to recall. Okay, now we get that second. We get to catch a breath a little bit. And, I mean, if we take stock of the map overall, Wildcard, having the 3-0 Jinx, I'm going to be honest, I like their chances a little bit. Though we saw Moose Hater make good use of the Fiora in team fights, she is mostly a split pusher. So with Philip running this game means that his strength is going to be in the side lane. Having the lead that he does means he's in a good spot to be that side lane threat. Oh, wait, is this an all-in?
Not yet. He's got the hook shot. He's like Batman, all right? He's a moose in a bad costume. With scissor legs. I'm starting to build too many things together.
Wait, hold on. You might be onto something there. We got to write that down.
I don't know if we get away with that one. But we do get the Scuttlecrab fight here. Keel winning it. Nobody here to contest. He is the king of them all. But we do actually see just kind of a calming of that early part. I would expect Keel to continue to try to get some of these going, as Yuji has just been resigned to farming up a little bit till that next moment as Spyrax.
Keel.
A little bit of advantage here. That's a big angry snowball. Maybe the Fate Seal to get out of there.
Wow, that's a tough one. A lot of pressure in this mid lane. And now, with your bot lane also applying pressure, you have this opening to go for the Drake. And that's why you see the pings coming through as well from FlyQuest. They know that Rift Herald is all that's available to them, much like in that last game. But this is tough, because Wildcard are in this position where they're going to be able to stack Drakes, and picking up early Drakes only makes the soul fight eventually more difficult for FlyQuest, because if they fall behind, like, it's hard enough to try and contest Drakes with Wildcard's composition. If you are suddenly in a soul fight that you weren't ready for, Nunu and Willem just seal it away easy.
The other thing is you have to be quick on these counter plays, right? Like, even with Yuji having started it so preemptively, Keel still ends up making it here at the very end of it. So if it was just a couple seconds different, that is a contested objective. And so FlyQuest actually able to adapt a little bit this early game. They still have a lead in topside with Philip, but they're trying to play the opposite side of where Wildcard are focusing.
It's interesting because you consider that Masu and Keetong were able to naturally get that 2-1 or the 2 kills in that early game. He's able to keep up, even though Lens is slightly ahead. The big thing too is that you have 2 hyper scaling AD carries who are very much accelerated at the moment here, who are getting to those big spikes a little bit sooner. And what's that going to look like for these objective fights? Again, a lot of onus is on FlyQuest. Now they're able to trade objectives, but later on, trading's not going to be an option for them, as Wildcard will likely continue to stack Drakes.
See if they can get an off timing on those kills on the neutral objectives. Moose Hater has an angry UG waiting in the wings here to get a dive, as they will try to execute this one. He has hook shot. He has a little bit of damage onto Philip. They're going to try to get him to CC down. Grand challenge has been issued. There's the Dawning Shadow across.
Nice.
And that's an extra little bit of damage there.
More lunge.
Mega Death Rocket not going to be enough there. A lot of help from bottom lane. But more help is on the way. The biggest snowball ever not going to be there, as I thought he was actually channeling that one up the mid lane. But they still might be able to cap on Philip.
Oh, yeah.
He did not back off fast enough. It should be him trying to sacrifice himself to the tower. Shut down to Soligo.
Oh, nice. You pick up a lot of gold there for the mid of Wildcard. Soligo, honestly, a player who has been really nice to see back at this level of play. Last year, didn't have the best year when he was on Evil Geniuses, but the fact that he's able to find that resurgence, especially here on this provisional roster, is just a great look, as he is been a big part of the success here for Wildcard. Of course, the rest of the team committing their parts as well.
He does get that Luden's Echo completed first after that shutdown as well.
Very cool.
So big spike for Azir at the mid lane. Not going to go for that. Leandri is going for that straight damage on the poke. Now Duo King and Lens. I've taken a couple tower plates bot side. Won't be able to take any more there, but it has been a steady, I guess, game plan from Wildcard early on. And now we got to see how kind of FlyQuest can up in that a little bit. They still are stacking. They still are scaling. They still have a lot of strength, but Rift Herald is under their pocket, and they need to use it.
It's definitely running out of time. Definitely don't want what happened in game one, a very last-second Herald with not a whole lot of impact. Oh, hey!
Soligo gets caught.
Oh, hey!
Nice CC chain. He pushes him back, but he's still got the soul unbound. Goes right back, takes that extra tower shot, but Soligo is down.
Really nice capitalization and really nice play from Spyrax. Even with help from Keel, it wasn't enough. And that means that you get that high impact Herald play we were hoping for. I mean, Spyrax, walk in range. Okay. That's what I like to see. Extra gold for FlyQuest mid.
A little bit of something. We said we want to see some proactivity with that Rift Herald play. They do just that. Spyrax will be a menace on this Yone. We've seen him be able to pull it out before. As Philip trying to work down his own turret plates here, we get some potential cheese play coming out from Masu and Kitong on bottom side of the map.
Well, you know
they
me,
can't
Len.
find him.
Aw, I'm not lactose intolerant. A big fan of cheese. So
what's your favorite cheese? Now be ready. I'm French. All right.
Yeah.
You gotta think. You gotta think about that. Better be stinky.
You know, I actually don't know. I've tried a couple different cheeses, but I couldn't tell you any of their names. All I know.
all right. I'll give you basis. Are you like a goat cheese guy? Are you a cow cheese? Are you? No?
Probably cow cheese.
Okay. No,
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I've tried. You know those charcuterie boards?
Goat. I thought like.
Oh, stop.
I got him.
This guy.
The wholesome got him. This is not so wholesome, though. Soligo taking a brunt of damage here, but the Soul Unbound is still there. Takes an extra tower shot on the back end of it, but Spyrax able to get down Soligo's health. We are getting that, I guess, concurrent gank in mid lane.
It's a good word for it.
the Keel engage there, I guess, got on the Spyrax, but not able to respond too much to it, as it will just be both junglers showing up mid.
You can see that all this effort, all this pressure they're trying to exude mid lane is set up for this dragon, because now they're on it. But look at Keel, able to steal so very easily if they are not careful.
Yeah, and I think they realize that as he's just going straight through them to try to get to his bot lane. He does make it there as well. Nicely done from Keel. It will be FlyQuest pushing back onto the turret. And Keel just wanted to get a heal and get set up for this biggest snowball ever. Dragon does go over to Yuji, though. Glacial Prison utilized to stop that one. Nicely done. Spyrax taking a pretty healthy chunk of damage in mid lane, though.
Worth it. You're keeping Soligo away from that fight. That's the big move there from Spyrax. Now he can back, recall, spend his gold. Overall, really nice.
Moose in the top lane.
That's what I'm talking about, Philip. Now 4-1 on the Fiora. All that attention topside paying dividends as Moose Hater is under pressure. Speaking of
They're
pressure.
going bot lane. That Ultra Shock laser connected on the lane.
Yes.
The lightning crash as well. Masu healing up as well from the shield bow. He goes down to Lens though. The capitalization. Saligo, he's trying to save Lens on the other side.
Oh, Spyrax, nice.
Sealed. And that's Lens's death.
That's a really nice play from Spyrax. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about it as it was happening, and he goes for that commitment. Lens played that well though to get a kill as well, and this lead does continue to grow for the bot lane of Wildcard. I want to take a look at the gold just to see where we are at in terms of head-to-head gold values, because it's true that FlyQuest find themselves almost 2K up. I don't have to ask for gold to know that it's all on the top side. And look at that, 1900
gold almost.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, but if you look on the bot side, Lens is up about 700-800 gold, and it's because of these kills that he's able to keep getting for himself.
That is huge, and something definitely that they'll be playing towards a little bit later on. We saw in game number 1, Wildcard went to their tried and true, get a late game scaling composition. They played to it beautifully, and now the answer is through FlyQuest and trying to get something in bot lane.
I like this, continuing that pressure. You see it, Duo King goes down, and Lens flashes forward to secure that kill. And even though no one goes down on this bottom side, you look over to the left, you see Spyrax. Oh yeah, Saligo, real quick, just, you know, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of sparring, and then just turns around like, hey Lens, bet you thought I didn't see you there. Yeah, it's looking mighty juicy. Now Spyrax has a shutdown.
Rift Herald did get picked up by FlyQuest yet again, so we'll see if they want to try to crash that in the mid lane. We have had the switch up of lanes now, as Philip and Moose Hater have been relegated to the bot lane now, as Spyrax and Saligo on the top side. We get the duos in mid, and again, Yuji hovering this mid lane with the Rift Herald, potentially trying to take maybe one of these towers, as they trying to be a little bit preemptive.
And Wildcard anticipating pretty well, grouping up mid to prevent one of those crucial turrets from going down. It would really open up the map for FlyQuest, allow them to continue pressuring this bottom side of the map so they can keep stacking Drakes. Because it's the Mountain Soul. Both of these teams want this badly, Lennon. We know how easy it is for Wildcard to secure objectives.
They did find purchase onto Lens.
Nice!
It goes down. Matsu picks up the kill.
Really nice catch out. Lens, no summoner spells. You know he is very vulnerable. Now Moose Hater, wow, he wants to scrap. Philip does not care.
The tower. He does not care. He's going to take that extra tower shot. Moose Hater, that's a sign to go forward. Ignite has been popped. The exhaust, no, it's not.
Oh,
it's not enough. Exhaust. Oh my gosh. The exhausted hands of Philip there for sure in that side lane. Taking that extra tower shot. That's what it is.
Yeah, Philip definitely thinking he can take that turret. Finds out it's what we call an illegal maneuver in the business, and Moose Hater, being the fun police, takes him out of the picture. That's a big shutdown after everything that's gone through over to Moose Hater, who's been, I don't even want to say struggled. He's been attacked in the top lane a lot by the top jungle of FlyQuest Challengers. So some gold back into his pocket is much needed. It hasn't narrowed the gap, but if plays like that keep happening, Philip won't have that side lane lead that he needs to keep that pressure inside. I mean, at the moment, he's got 2 items, though, so he's still doing fine.
Feels good, man, as item completion is definitely across the board. Feels good as Radiant Virtue first item for Keel. Keetong on this little bit of a roam with Yuji. That combination so potent, but Keel right in his own gang towards mid lane.
It's that snowball to help push this mid wave, that pressure, because Dragon's coming up. 40 seconds. Everybody is on the map. You look at teleports as well. Moose Hater doesn't have his, so he has to stay towards this bottom side, and Saligo technically has to stay to protect this mid turret. So it means Philip can push this top lane uncontested and draw Saligo away, and Philip can actually just start walking to the fight now if he wants to. He doesn't need to worry about this wave, doesn't need to use the teleport, and you want to use that numbers advantage to set up the dragon take.
Trying to do just that. Numbers are king. As Spyrax trying to take down the side lane tower as quickly as possible. Maybe even join that fight there. Rift Herald does get summoned up in mid lane. Gets the charge off. Eventually, he should get that tower down. And a little bit of that give in mid lane leads to this dragon play as Philip is still on the top side. Spyrax in the bot.
Wow.
Moose Hater does a decent chunk to him. As now, biggest snowball ever will connect onto 2 members of FlyQuest. But Wildcard take full position in front of this dragon.
Oh, whoa!
A double knockup for
Spyrax!
Fate sealed! And immediately Wildcard are bursting off the map. Lens, you find yourself between a rock and a sword. He does get one back. Moose Hater comes out, clean him up. Lens, you're so
He's
good,
excited.
brother. As he's excited. He's excited all day long. It might be Philip pushing inside lane, but my God, Lens, he's able to kite this one. No.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Shut down to Moose Hater. And here comes Philip, the hammer that would be for FlyQuest. Lens gets another kill, but it's back and forth beatdown.
I can't even believe what we just saw. Wildcard managed to stall the dragon take, but props to FlyQuest because that entire fight until those last few seconds was a 5 versus 4. Oh, whoa, Philip.
They are in a little bit of trouble here under tower. Philip is still a beast. He does flash over, makes it out alive, but maybe Keel wants to make that not happen. He does hit the wall there and Philip out.
We'll see. A W snowball.
Chasing. Philip.
Oh, Philip.
Nope. He's trying to get to Keetong. Keetong about to have the wild growth, but also has that tool to just help him out. Side lane tower taken by Spyrax.
Honestly, really nicely executed. You look at this 5v4. True, Moose Hater wasn't here at the time, but watch this. You see Yuji go in, and this is the proactivity we wanted to see, especially from this mid-jungle duo. Beautiful combo into all that CC, and before you know it, someone is already out of the picture. The thing is, though, Lens, because of the help from Moose Hater, was able to stay alive long enough to turn a lot of these fights around. And even more, watch this. Lens has got a little bit of jukes. He put on his dancing shoes, as Kangas would say. As soon as the blast cone, oh, he just goes the other way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the little bit of give back and forth there as well. But I love this. They got the top side inhib. Philip says, I'm coming to try to make a difference here in the lane. Masu does end up going down from a quick rocket over the side, but shutdowns go back.
And the dragon, as we saw in the picture-in-picture, was picked up for FlyQuest. Means they are the ones in the lead so far as soul stacking. But more importantly, they're in the lead in terms of gold. And they're looking so much better in this game, too. So much more confident and decisive.
A decision needs to be there in the late game that we haven't seen necessarily from FlyQuest, but now with a decent amount of advantage here. Spyrax scaling up, you've got Masu scaling up, you've got the side lane that is just so filthy rich with Philip.
Yeah.
It's something that has to be thought of, and that's kind of that approach that FlyQuest are bringing when you were talking about Keel having absolute control over objectives. Well, it doesn't matter if your base is being broken down while you're going for those objectives.
Now, the objective to be looking for is the Baron. With this lead that you have and with Philip, that constant pressure on this bottom lane means that FlyQuest have set their sights on the big purple worm, and you can see it on the minimap. They have moved their way in, aren't going to start it yet because they know that Keel can just steal these objectives away so easily. They're playing for the fight. Even if you see them start the Baron up, it's for the turn and burn.
Try to get something out of nothing here, maybe. Is FlyQuest holding position just in case Wildcard want to overextend a little bit? Here comes the biggest snowball ever. But it's just a waiting game to see what kind of dam-breaking loose action is going to be in the bottom side as Philip now making his first move up to this mid lane. A Wildcard are a bit pinned. It's like they aren't going to pull the trigger on that move fully, and it's just going to be the side lane pressure now from Spyrax.
Oh, Philip. Ooh. It's a nice
little
repose.
trade, my God.
I wonder if he's going to go all in for it. Moose Hater does have the ignite. That is that big thing you are concerned about. But
they're pinging onto the Baron here.
Yeah, exactly. Baron time. Now they're going to go ahead and start it. Remember, they're playing for turn. They know they can't 50-50. It is about the team fight. So watch Yuji and Spyrax.
Oh, do connect there. Spyrax tries a couple tools from the shadows there being utilized. They're just trying to force that play from Wildcard, as you had said. We got to look back at Keel maybe, though, as trying to maybe get a little vision game down there. Moose Hater about half health on bottom side, and it feels like slowly but surely Philip will be taking an advantage down here.
Yeah, just going to go ahead and steal camps while he has the opportunity. Okay, starting the Baron again is the call here for FlyQuest, but worth noting, no Glacial Prison. Hard to layer that CC, but again, eyes are on Spyrax. They have to turn this. They can't just let Keel walk in.
Philip does have TP. He will have just completed his back here as well. They are going to TP
he's coming.
in. Moose Hater has to TP maybe if Wildcard wants to contest it. 3,000 health on the Baron. Philip fighting Duo King. Philip fighting Duo King though. Moose Hater has TP, but it's way too little too late. He's about to die.
Oh, he's going.
In the Baron pit. It is Yuji.
Oh, Yuji gets it.
Comes out on top. And so do FlyQuest. Push back though. You got a nice little fight back though from Wildcard as they're getting a couple members here. Saligo and Moose Hater trying to take on the world, but the world ain't giving up on FlyQuest.
Big team fight coming through here, and this could be the end of the game. Baron is there, a wave is top, and we have 30 seconds on everyone but Duo King. FlyQuest, after a heartbreaking game one, pull it back here to tie the series.
They will push themselves to 11-11, that 500 streak there, denying Wildcard that top of the table at 17 wins until Dignitas plays later. And this is a beautiful comeback from a team that we needed to see close out games. And while Duo King gets one back, it is all for naught. And the final blows come out for FlyQuest here, maybe on the towers,
never mind.
but not the Nexus. As Keel comes out, they get two back here.
Oh. Okay, so that's kind of nice. You get the shutdowns for Wildcard, but the damage is done. At this point, Philip, with how strong he is, could very easily backdoor if you're not careful. There are no turrets up. And again, we're going to watch this fight. The big thing is what you see on the top of the screen. Philip gets Duo King in the background, and Keel trying to do his best to create that situation we keep talking about with this Nunu, but couldn't get it low enough. And while channeling the absolute zero, Yuji wins the smite fight. And even with those kills lost coming through, it's okay.
Moose Hater will use that Hex Tech Ultimate. You got to watch Lens. Lens doing a lot of damage here. You got the biggest snowball ever. And Matsu flashing, but he still gets connected on under tower, though. There's Lens with the Mega Death Rocket.
Wow. Incredible fight coming through from Wildcard. But now we're seeing FlyQuest getting those early dragons really pay off, because now at this point in the game, in so many of Wildcard's matches, they'll be at soul point. This could have been a soul for them had they not been trading back on the side of FlyQuest. So this dragon honestly doesn't matter to me. FlyQuest are still in an incredibly winning position, and all it takes is one good fight to close it out.
And this is what a fight back from Wildcard, honestly. Being able to kind of stand the test. Those timers obviously helping them out a little bit. But it is just trying to maintain a little bit of the scaling that they had drafted for themselves. They do have a very strong comp at the late game. It just hasn't been getting the resources that you maybe want. And now it's about how FlyQuest kind of pick apart these last defenses.
That's right. Now we're seeing it. Again, that decisiveness. Playing in darkness with this good vision setup to try and catch anybody out. This is what we want to see from FlyQuest Challengers, and this is what they're showing us a little late in the series, but better late than never.
Oh, they find Lens. No, the Fate Seal's going to go wide. A couple ultis used from both sides. There will be just a quick hands check there from both, as well as Philip just still pushing in the side lane.
Lens really nice with the flash. Good response time here. Oh, wait a minute. Phillips might be in trouble.
He is having that hole breaker now. Has the riposte, stops that. Now Mount Fly collapsed onto Moose Hater. He's going back in with the Hex Tech Ultimatum. He's on to Philip, and Philip taking a decent amount. But yeah, Wildcard realized they have to leave their top side to die as Philip picks up the kill.
That's brutal, because now Spyrax gets to take this tier 2 turret. That's just more gold in FlyQuest pocket. And to make matters worse, you're losing turrets all over the place. And that's 40 seconds you don't have Moose Hater in the picture. There's no objectives to play for, but it's just that freedom on the map that FlyQuest continue to exert. Look at this bottom side jungle. It is just all red wards here in favor of FlyQuest. And it's just such a dangerous place to be if your name is Wildcard Gaming.
They're going to move into mid lane now as well, onto this inhib tower. The Duo King on the side, maybe a little bit of Saligo action here. About to have that Emperor's Divide up. It is now up, so tools are available if Wildcard can find an overextending FlyQuest.
Okay, I mean, realistically, that one is, if you see one or two people only go alone on Philip, it's a scare tactic. You're not fighting this Fiora. Almost level 18, 3.5 items deep, 3 2/3. We're really looking at it here. I lied. 4 items. I'm sorry. My bad, Philip. Please forgive me for doubting you. Because clearly, oh my God, he's got 4.5.
speaking of, though, you got the 4 items for Lens. I think that's a nice little spike here for him as well. You still are looking for that Rabadon's completion for Silico, and you can't doubt the amount of damage that Wildcard can do if they find picks like they did. I mean, even Philip, that strong member, got reduced to almost nothing in that little fight there with Wildcard able to take a front to back. But it is just about FlyQuest needing to identify the win condition here in how to close it out, because that has been the struggle in the past.
And identifying those key moments, and they've been doing that a lot this game. And I mean, we're looking at Lens at 4 items and has the QSS. That's the biggest one here. A second cleanse, essentially, to be able to get out from the CC. That Yuji, Kitog, everybody is throwing at this player because Lens is the carry this game. He's been team fighting very well. It's only when that overload comes through that he ends up finally dying in most of these situations, and he knows that if he's out of the picture, Wildcard lose the game. Wildcard have done so good extending this game as long as they have, given what FlyQuest have been doing. But that big question is going to be coming very soon, Lennon. Can they actually win another late game team fight? Because so far, the numbers are in FlyQuest's favor.
They are, and I do want to leave room to be open for a potential crazy backdoor. I mean, there's no wards that place it right now, but you do have the double TP from Philip and Spyrax, who can gap close very, very quickly. Always something to keep in mind with Wildcard foraying out that they do have an open inhib and an open nexus in top side. FlyQuest now positioning around this Baron pit, just try to get some vision down with the dragon coming up in 50 seconds.
Right, it's going to be the 3rd dragon for either team, and realistically, this game could end very soon. No one's thinking about Soul. It is just the Baron, and again, Yuji won the 50-50 before, but it's not going to be that simple this time. Keel is here. Keel has eyes. They're looking to turn.
I think they're just going to collapse on Keel. He has to flash out. Rest of Wildcard now coming in. 1 rocket. There's a quarter health to Masu. Wildcard now moving back.
Yeah, I love this.
They burn it so fast.
Dude, they forced Yuji to use the ult and they didn't get the kill, and now Keel can just get it. You can't 50-50.
Oh, he doesn't get it. Lens gets it. As now it's the fight after, though. Yuji getting chunked out. He has to flash. Wildcard putting on the defense of a lifetime here. As now in bottom lane,
look at the picture.
Though.
They need to stall.
Going all in. We got the Baron, though, that's helping. That tower will fall. The FlyQuest stalling as much as they can here. Wildcard, they're backed into a corner. And FlyQuest, they have to back off bot side as well. They're actually Philip trying to go back in, but now it's Wildcard trying to escape with these Baron buffs. They don't know if they can make it out. Masu TP as well from both sides. Moose Hater, Philip rejoin the fight, giving up their fight in bottom side. Mega Death Rocket comes, hits Masu, but FlyQuest get away.
Oh my God. Oh wait, what are we doing?
On to Moose Hater.
Oh, what just happened?
They bring him back to the death as he's gone. And FlyQuest, what a play!
What an incredible catch out. Spyrax still has teleport, and you see the pings. They're looking for the Nexus. They're looking for that play.
All right, a little bit of split here. Keel trying to go down, but Philip, he takes one. Lens able to pop some shots into him, though.
Lens is big.
Trying to get on the Kitog. They catch him out. He goes golden, though. Can he buy a little bit of time here? That's not enough time as Philip gets himself another kill. It's another shutdown, and FlyQuest, they're pushing in the base.
This is so big. Lens is still full health, has so much damage. Can clutch it if FlyQuest aren't careful, but they're just going to walk it in. We're 20 seconds on Duo King, 40 seconds on Siligo. Wildcard has to go big.
So we said at the beginning, these are the 2 that you have to focus on, and these are the big moments.
Oh, the stopwatch.
The cleanse. Lens, he's about to get excited.
He's excited.
Can he get more? As he has the Mega Death Rocket, he's going forward. The rest of Wildcard, they're chasing him down. Riposte stops the damage, but
you're kidding.
Stops Masu in his tracks, and Wildcard, you can never count them out.
They keep getting away with it, Lennon. Lens is too fed, and look at all the escape tools he has. Cleanse, Flash, QSS. All game long, he was being punished, and he finally gets his revenge as they are not able to shut this guy down.
That excited has never gotten me more excited. This will be 3rd dragon for Wildcard, and they are putting on a huge defense here. Their base might be in tatters. They know their win conditions.
And look at it, it's Lens. Look at him, full health the entire time. Keel just making space, even with the good stopwatch. Spyrax trying to get the CC on so that maybe they can take him down. But as soon as he goes down, FlyQuest know what time it is, and it's time to run.
Big,
it was, and you managed to get the stun, but realistically, it was Moose Hater. That last Hextech ultimatum, a little awkward with the movement and how far he went, but this time it was perfect. Masu's out of the picture. Lens can keep running forward without a care in the world, and Wildcard get their soul point on the Mountain Soul as well.
All right, we got full items stacked up for Philip now. We're looking at full items stacked for Lens as well. We're still waiting on one more for Masu. We're waiting on a couple more for FlyQuest as well. Philip in the side. Can be a little bit sneaky. Does get spotted out here by the Warren. Wildcard, no, they need to pull back.
That's right. Remember, Nexus is exposed. 2 inhibitors are exposed. So even with Wildcard finding themselves up on even territory once again, FlyQuest can still just end the game. Wildcard have so many towers to go through before that is an option.
See them trying to take down a little bit more here, but both teams kind of, at least FlyQuest, very hesitant, and they found themselves in so many positions like this in this season. They are 10 and 11 for a reason. You see Spyrax actually getting a little bit aggressed here as he has to use that Fate Seal to get out.
Really nice. Doesn't have to, I mean, didn't have any summoner spells to blow to begin with. And it's just going to be FlyQuest keeping these waves pushed in as deeply as possible. Inhibitors are up, but again, 2 are exposed. And this time, Wildcard, they're just playing this map so well, making sure that nobody can get into their base, and FlyQuest now have to respect the fact that Wildcard have caught up. Look at Lens. He's full build on this Jinx, has the Mercurial Scimitar, meaning that QSS active is still there. That extra cleanse is there, and by the time this next dragon spawns, or even the next Baron, Lens will also have his summoner spells back up. FlyQuest have their work cut out for him, and this has basically become a game of FlyQuest. You know those graphs where based on your answer the line goes in a different direction? So basically the question is, did you kill Lens this fight? Yes, win. No, lose. Because we're late in the game that a team fight will literally just win the game. And now actually we got the whisper from the universe actually about that Senna soul check. Oh wait.
So I do want to focus, though, on what we have been bringing into this one. Wildcard were that team that just absolutely can close out late game. They draft for it, they scale for it, they win it. And FlyQuest were the team that had come into this one saying they usually find those advantages early, but they never are able, or at least not never, but most of the time it's a difficulty to try and close those leads out. And now we find ourselves where Wildcard are in their element, and this is that big test we needed answered for FlyQuest, and what a way to do it.
That's right. Again, Wildcard 16-5 team there for a reason. And they have scaled up. I mean, even Duo King, who we haven't talked about much, on the Senna. If we could see the... There we go. Oh my god. 170 souls, meaning I'm almost certain you can auto turrets outside of their range at this point. And the amount of damage coming through is just insane. And that's another damage threat you have to be worrying about on the side of FlyQuest. I still say Lens is like, you know, a big one who needs to go right away, but the Senna's a close second.
Actually see FlyQuest positioning around this Baron pit here. Again, there is such an uneven state if Keel can make it into the pit and get a steal. Ketong has to flash early there. We're getting a side lane tussle, though. It is Saligo and Moose Hater collapsing onto Philip. They don't get him, though. It's a 4v3 in the Baron pit. FlyQuest trying to turn onto the Baron now, but Keel's coming right back with that biggest snowball ever. He's trying to get himself in the pit here. Can he get into the Baron? It's the turn of the fight, though. TP's now coming in. That's Saligo.
Oh, Lens is excited.
Fight as Wildcard, they're taking a fight in front of the Baron pit here, and that should just be their Baron gone.
Wait, they might lose their base in the process, though.
He doesn't get it.
He gets
out. That is a big turnaround and good macro decisions from Wildcard, and now they should catch out Masu too, who's gonna go back on a Duo King, but Duo King's got all that damage.
Masu did not expect that amount of damage. Good thing we checked the souls, so we were not surprised about that one. And the question has been answered. Did you kill Lens in that team fight? The answer is no. More than once, FlyQuest have turned onto Keel to try and take him down. But look at the items that he's packing. The damage just isn't enough to burst him down. And when you're committing very key ultimates without getting successful kills, you make Lens's life that much easier. And now Wildcard, they have the soul available to them, but they have the Baron that they want to make use of as well.
Philip and Moosehater will be fighting in front of the Dragon Pit while FlyQuest try to respond to some of this play from Wildcard in front of their base. There'll be still some left open gold here, and that should be soul acquired by Wildcard, and it just feels like a change in momentum here. Even with this late game going, it just feels like even we were at the nexus for FlyQuest, and they were unable to end the game. You roar back to life for Wildcard.
Oh my god, back to life and stronger than ever, because now you have 3 Mountain Drakes individually, which is an insane amount of bonus stats for people like Moosehater, Keel, whoever's building any, and of course the natural stats you have. And you also have the soul, which gives you that shield. 5v5, FlyQuest, they haven't had it for a while, but I just want to affirmatively say you don't have those anymore. That's not for you. It's the split push game. It's the backdoor game. It's your only option to win here in game 2.
So we got the GA completed there for Spyrax. I'd love to check in on the gold really quick, though, because Masu has just been sitting on this stopwatch for a long time. I just want to know if he can get that final item here. For Zeri, that full build is very important. I like the stopwatch usability, but gotta be a little bit hesitant if you're going to go into a 5-on-5 fight with a Jinx. And now the Hextech Ultimatum onto Yuji. He's got now an engage back on a Duo King. Ultra Shock Laser doesn't do much. And Yuji on no health bar and Wildcard, they are just winning in every state of form.
Yeah, the stopwatch is a good point out. Masu's holding it so you can use the stasis before you build something like a GA. Oh, wait a minute. Look at Philip.
Look at Philip. He's going for the back door, but Moosehater is back there. He will be able to respond
the cover.
This. And you have the cover from the top laner Wildcard. They're
trying to back
Philip there. They're trying to get back to try to defend as well. Grand Challenge did get issued, but Moosehater, he does take that aggressive stance here.
That's right. Moosehater's going to keep on pushing. They might actually have a pick.
They find a weird angle there for Spyrax. He cannot find Lens, and he gets half his health bar taken out here. Now on top side, Phillips actually running away from Moosehater, and that's 3 members in mid lane for Wildcard that have Baron buffs.
Yeah, and oh my god, look at Yuji. Now he's trying to backdoor. They've just pulled. This is really dangerous. Okay, Baron has expired, so the recalls are much shorter.
They have to do something here to stop this, maybe. Spyrax.
He's going to stop recalls.
In position. See him coming here as Yuji just waiting, buying time. Needs to actually go. I mean, the back from Moosehater has been being channeled this whole time. They're teaming in. This is a balls to the wall play from FlyQuest. They're going to try to commit to the side. They're going to try to commit to this inhib and take the Nexus here. Philip will be moving in. The backs are coming out. Chaos
They're going to get it.
Ensuing. FlyQuest, they want to end the game. They're going to steal it away from Wildcard.
Maybe not.
Couple more auto attacks. Yuji! No!
It's so close. They're gone for a minute on the top jungle of FlyQuest, and this is the only option. Wildcard have been so good at watching their base, and FlyQuest couldn't stop the backs. And they got a recall now. They have to mind their own base for the moment here, and their only saving grace is that they pulled all of Wildcard away. We're still minutes away from
Ketong's
the Elder.
Out.
Yeah, Ketong's dead.
Ketong is 100% dead. That's going to be a hefty death timer there. Luckily, no big objectives on the map, but you got to worry about the base defense now for FlyQuest.
It just gets harder. Ketong's dead for 50 seconds. You will get your top jungle back soon, but that lack of option, I see red. Could we look over at the Wildcard base really quickly? I'm not sure if that's a ward or the bodies of Philip and Yuji, because if there's a ward...
It's the bodies, I believe.
Oh, okay, it's the bodies. Because Spyrax still has teleport, and we could see with that bottom wave constantly pushing, maybe Spyrax goes for that backdoor, but this is... FlyQuest recognized the position they're in too. Backdoors are all they have left.
Aren't going to find a 5v5 fight now, as it's way too late for that one. Still got about 1 minute and 10 seconds on the Baron buff. We got 2 minutes and 15 seconds till this Elder Dragon spawns. Getting some pings from FlyQuest, who are still trying to find that cheese here. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be ripe in time.
Now, 1 minute from the Baron. Only objective to really play for, but of course the Elder, strongest buff in the game, will also be available very soon. And Wildcard, they're being very careful with this one because they have to. They don't have that much vision on their side of the map, but it's in a lot of key places. So if you see someone like Philip or Yuji do what they did, it's not going to go unnoticed. And Wildcard have to keep doing this kind of dance of, we're going to knock on your base door. We're also watching our base. We're going to try and knock on your base door. And that's kind of the only game available to them right now.
All right, we'll see this last little push coming in here as well. As in bottom side, you got a decent amount of super minions stacked up for FlyQuest. They're moving a lot of members here as Baron spawning on the other side of the map. Might be a cross-map play for Wildcard.
Looking like it. Masu is spotted. Oh my god.
Philip is in some trouble here. Philip needs to be a little bit careful as he's going to get everything used onto him from Keel at least, but not going to find it. Masu's pushing in the bottom side here with Kitong and with Yuji. We're waiting for a little bit of a side lane pick.
It's true. Moose Hater has been very commonly pushing up for these, so maybe they end up catching him out, especially because you see the blue pings. Wildcard look like they're positioning because they want to go for the Baron.
Moose Hater has been the one that has stopped all of these crazy plays against FlyQuest. We'll walk away from this bottom lane. Masu and Yuji, they're going to sneak through. Can they make it all the way out? Are they going to be able to end this one? There's pings coming down from Wildcard. They're pinging. There's chaos. There's a little bit of fear. There's spear.
Oh my god.
Into
They're
the
just
eyes
running.
of Wildcard. They're TPing in. And FlyQuest, they've just sprung the trap. And it's just going to be that. FlyQuest will take the game.
Off a back door. Not the cleanest win ever. But FlyQuest will be able to keep their record even. Bat 500, like you said. And wow. It was the only option they had, and they went for it. So good on them.
We said we needed to see late game execution from FlyQuest. They didn't get that first backdoor, but they got that second one. We're going to take a little break here. We're going to talk to FlyQuest about that craziness, I'm sure, after a short little one, and with Joshi after this.
Welcome back to the LCS Challengers League. I am joined right now by the victorious top laner for FlyQuest Challengers, Philip. And Philip, that was one hell of a game. You guys went for one backdoor fail. You go for another backdoor. It ends up working out. What were the communications like, and how calm or crazy was the end of that game for you guys?
I was like, after we failed the first and second backdoor, and then they started to get closer to the soul, I was like, oh shoot, we actually just threw the freest game of all time, right? And then, I mean, towards the end of it, I'm happy that my teammates were staying calm as well. And that kind of just, I mean, I was getting stressed, but I think Yuji kept his comms really calm and clear, so yeah, that kind of made me more feel more...
Yeah, more clear-headed, more
calm,
able, more stable. Yeah. That's good to hear. Now, we do know one of the big things that we've been looking at from the FlyQuest Challengers roster is trying to figure out who's going to kind of be the leader and the shot caller in-game, because I feel like that's been one of the places where you guys have been challenged. You guys have definitely had the hands, but how would you describe the communication atmosphere for your team?
I think for the most part it's been Spyrex has been trying his best to live up to like the role that Diamond was last year. I guess naturally because he plays mid lane and he just has that drive and personality, I guess. But I think overall, me, Yuji, I mean, I honestly think everyone has been doing their best to like put in like adding information and playing their part. But it's much more different than just having like a straight leader, right? Someone who, you just listen to that guy and boom, it goes in your favor. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, Philip, I told you I was going to have to ask you a hard question. For a player who did as well as you did in 2022, unfortunately, you've been solo killed the most out of all top laners currently in the league. What's going on, man? Like, what's been the difference between 2022 Philip and 2023 Philip?
Yeah, yeah, definitely haven't lived up to my name, right? Especially from last year, but honestly, just surprised by how good everyone's gotten, I guess. And I'm definitely underperforming, especially individually. And I think a lot of our losses, I'd like to take accountability because of that. But I mean, I think the major difference is just that I just need to get my head in the game, I guess, because obviously I just played in LCS, right? And these guys honestly realized that a lot of them are just laning just as well, honestly, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think
Well,
there's
we
just
did
that.
get to see a little bit of this game going up against Moose Hater. When Yuji comes up towards the top side and gives you resources, it feels like we see an entirely different version of Philip, a little bit more of the Philip that we were used to, you know, having success in the LCS. Do you feel as though that's something that you guys could play a little bit more towards, or is that something that we're still kind of waiting for Masu and Winsome to come join the team for?
I mean, I definitely think once Masu gets here, I mean, I feel like we've been playing for him for like the majority of the split and letting me do my signature, let me be alone type of thing, right? But I mean, I'm confident I can, we can play both styles, but I'm really excited for when Masu gets here and we play bot side and seeing what he could do on this ping.
Yeah, I did hear
I
a
mean, yeah.
rumor that he's coming very soon.
Yeah, he's actually coming tomorrow, so
Let's
really excited
go.
for that.
Now, I also heard a rumor that you guys are expecting to get Ayla in, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, so we will see an opportunity for you two guys to pick up Winsome. What's it been like playing with a long-term sub like Heatong for you guys?
I mean, Keaton was actually like my really good friend even before FlyQuest, so I was just really happy to get to play with him on the professional team. So, I mean, yeah, this is the end of the road for him on FlyQuest, so I'm really happy that we got to end on a win for him.
Nice. All right, well, we have to talk a little bit about the rent-a-girlfriend meme that you spawned all that
Yeah.
time ago when you were first still playing on the LCS team. And you've been saying that you've been watching a lot of trash anime over the years, a lot of trash romance stuff. And so I have to ask, if you were to ship any two of your teammates to be the stars of a new trash anime, who would it be and why?
Stars of a trash anime. I mean, I think first off, it would have to be Yuji, because pretty good looking guy, you know, pretty good looking, and yeah, watches. I mean, I guess since it's
Yeah.
like about anime, he watches a lot of anime on his own. So
Nice. And who's the other half of the yaoi?
I don't want to do this to anyone.
You did one. It's already Yuji.
Oh no, I can't. I'll just put Spyrex in there just because the mid jungle god, they play well together, so
There
they
you
might
go.
as well be together.
That's a very cute reasoning. Very cute reasoning. Well, with that, Philip, I think we've covered everything we kind of need to today. Do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Shout out to Keaton, because he's been doing such a good job this whole split. And yeah, it's just really happy to play with him. And then shout out to everyone on FlyQuest, family, staff, players, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and players from last year, Johnson. I love that guy.
Ooh. Yeah, shout outs to Johnson as well. Well, congratulations on your win today, Philip. It's definitely felt like the start of a potential turnaround for FlyQuest Challengers taking down such a strong team. But for now, here on the Challengers League, at the end of our Verizon postgame interview, we are going to throw it to a short break while we get ready for our final series of the day between Dignitas Challengers and 100 Thieves Challengers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Bye bye.